No, sorry, let me be more specific again. The best Manchester City side, who I am consistently told are the best that we've ever seen in the Premier League, and I argue that. But is this a better team than the best that Guardiola has put together?
I think Manchester City in the prime were a great side, and these are a great side. I don't like comparing. I think City have won it a few times. Liverpool, they've won it. In my opinion, they've won the Premiership. It's an outstanding football team. It's solid. And like I said before, Klopp, when he first got there, identified a goalkeeper. He went and got Alisson. He identified weakness in the centre of the defence. He got Van Dijk, and the young players who come through, I think they're outstanding. I think this is the start of a bit of a dynasty. I think this is good.
We see 2 years ago, that was the general opinion.
Yes, it was.
And you said, no, it's not. Manchester City will not dominate the way that others have previously. Here we are 2 years on, and we're talking about another dynasty.
No, I don't. I don't agree. I don't think there will be a dynasty. I think it's really hard now. We think with the money about and the big teams that are going to come up and challenge again. And I feel the same about. Listen, are they better than the best team that Guardiola put together? Not yet. They have to go on and do what Guardiola's team have done.
What if they go on?
Now, what I'm saying,
and are unbeaten?
Yes, this year.
And set a new points record.
This year they could be invincible, and they'll certainly, if they don't trip up, well, that target of 101 points that Guardiola was so proud of, they're potentially going to smash it. Now, that would make it a great two great seasons. I've said to you, they've played 59 games, I think. This might have been 60 league games, and they've lost one. That's extraordinary. Absolutely extraordinary. Because him and I both played in that league. You know how difficult it is to win it, and how difficult it is, you know, to just not to get beat sometimes when you're not quite at your best. They've gone 60 games and only lost one.
Okay, it's not Liverpool. It's Melchester Rovers, who have put together this run, and therefore it makes it easier for you to answer the question. Is this better than the best team, should they get across the line, setting all the records that Andy's just talked about, than Guardiola has constructed?
Listen, it's a great season. And last season, they weren't unlucky. They found somebody better. It's a great season. The thing I'd say about it, Liverpool will win the Premiership, and have been brilliant.
Have won. Let's not win.
Yeah,
have won.
But I think it's a young side. I think it could get better, and that's the scary thing. I think this
but that was the same thing we were saying about City two years ago.
I'm not sure about that.
Get better.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. And they would company with Silva, with Aguero.
But they were bringing Bernardo Silva, Gabriel Jesus. They were bringing those players in, and Laporte. They were going to be natural replacements.
But a centre half, I'm not too sure about the centre half being that clever. Aguero, Jesus has done fantastic. Do they need another one in there? Possibly so.
I think they will. If this team go on to do what we expect them to do this season, win the league by a distance, create a new points record, win it earlier than any other team has done, you would have to put them up there with Guardiola's best team and Arsene Wenger's Invincibles. Would you agree?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
What about Manchester United's treble
winning team? They're in there as well.
Great team.
They would be in there as well. Yeah, so you'd have to put them in there. You can argue who's best, because you might like to see a football played one way. One of the teams that you've watched, you might like the Manchester United of 1999 and think, oh, that was just a great team to watch. You know, some people who watch Klopp's team, it's different from Guardiola.
You see, the reason I mentioned
to judge, if it's different.
Keeping it specifically to the Premier League, forget the 99 treble winners. I'm talking about the team that played in the Premier League. Twice Manchester United put 3 title wins back to back to back, twice. City have done it with 2.
Yeah.
But this team, this Liverpool team, if you're right, if they go on to smash all of those records, that sets them aside from City, surely. And if they go through a season unbeaten, as good as the Invincibles, surely.
It's one season. Yes. It's one season, and they're brilliant.
Well, what do we judge City on then? 2 seasons?
No, the City have had outstanding football team. Outstanding, but they got beaten a couple of games. This Liverpool side at this moment, luck, unbeatable, but there's still
Do you know,
a fair
do you
way
know
to
what
go.
we do, Richard? Do you know what I think? It's like comparing apples and oranges. It's
Yeah,
also
I'd
like
go with
comparing who do you like best? Who's your best player in the world? Is it Ronaldo or is it Messi?
Messi.
Right? No. Let me finish. Is it Ronaldo or is it Messi? There are people who say it's Messi, but so there are others like me who think Ronaldo has been. It's my preference.
Yes.
And when you say who's the best team, is it Manchester City or is it Liverpool? Because I believe they play the game differently. There's a difference in the way they play. So whatever you as a football fan like most, that's the team you would gravitate
See,
towards.
I think it's like
to say they're the
comparing
best.
apples with apples. It's not like comparing apples with
No,
oranges
it's not.
at all.
It is.
It's which apple do you prefer, green or red?
Well, that's
shiny
different. Well, they're different then. One's green and one's
Yes,
red.
but it's not as the contrast is not as great as you're suggesting.
why can't-
Yes, it is.
I think this team is better than the best Manchester City
Well,
team
exactly.
I've seen.
That's your opinion.
Better, and I think if they go on and set the record points this year, I think if they go on and win it by eight games come the end of the season, I think you have to say
They're up there.
no, that they're the best.
Can I ask you a question then? So
And unbeaten.
So say Manchester City beat them at the Etihad.
When? This year?
When they play.
They won't.
Oh no. Well, I'll come back and we'll have the chat. All
They
right,
won't.
we'll have the
They're
chat.
too strong. They're too powerful. They go out. They go out knowing they're going to win matches.
By the way, they might have won at Anfield if the VAR don't. Oh no, don't go
Don't
there.
go there.
No, leave it.
Don't go there.
Let's have the
Don't go
discussion when he played there.
Don't go there.
City
Listen,
lost.
they're a formidable side, Richard. They're one
Brilliant
of the
side.
best sides.
Brilliant side.
They won the Champions League last year. They lost one league game. They look like they're going to win. Well, they are going to win the league this year, right? So they're going to have moved on from there. And I keep saying to you, for this season alone, you would have to say amazing. Let's see what the Champions League brings us up with them as well, and see how they cope with defending that and how far they can go down that route. But in purely Premier League terms, they are right up there with the best teams I've seen in Premier League history.
I'll go with that.
If you go to the old First Division, they're up there with the best teams we've seen there. They're up there with the Liverpool team you say was the best team you ever saw in the 1970s.
No,
Do you
I
not think they're better?
That was a good
Granted, yes. See, I hate making.
Oh, there you go. I love it.
But it is a great conversation.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Right, we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we'll probably continue this conversation as well as dip into the rest of the football that's taken place today. Are they up there with that side? Yeah, they probably are. The Souness Hansen Dalglish team.
Oh, well, Souness will be on the phone to you any minute.
Oh, don't get me into it.
Might be staying where he is for a while.
Seven titles in a row, I think, for Juve, interrupted to win it this year by Antonio Conte. That would be something.
That would
is
be
a story.
extraordinary.
By the way, as a coach, he gets there, and I mean, we know it ended not great at Chelsea, but his record's fantastic.
Can I just ask you something about the game? Can I ask Peter something about the game today?
This game today?
Yeah. We just had, because I've just been thinking in that break there. You was listening to you and you said, if I was setting up a team against Liverpool, I'd want to slow it down. I'd want to defend deep, but make sure I had enough players getting forward, and I'd want to break the game up. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's what Jose had.
Oh, right. I thought you should do, because I've just looked and Tottenham committed 4 free kicks today.
No. I thought that's what Jose would do. I thought the second. To be perfectly honest, at home, I think Liverpool's strength is. I mean, they're strong all the way through, but I think the top 3 are outstanding. To defend against them is difficult. So if I was playing at home, I'd try to get at them, get it wide and get crosses in. I know it's on and get a second ball. And I know it might stretch the game and then try and get your shape afterwards and drop so there's no space in the hand. But it's hard working. But Liverpool do that.
Can I ask you a question based upon the stats that you've just given me?
Okay.
It's a bit like suggesting players play to the whistle. We know they don't. If you've got a group, and Mourinho has, that are nice lads, you're not immediately going to be able to change their attitude to get them to commit 14, 24 or even 34 fouls in a game, are you? Doesn't he? He'll be fully aware of that, surely, and know he's got to make changes.
Yeah, I think he will. I would be surprised. I'd be interested to see his stats, like, say, when Manchester City play Liverpool, how many free kicks they concede. I'm kind of guessing it'd be double that. Minimum, double that. They would know anyone breaking on Manchester City is a foul, stop the play. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Stopping the play. What Manchester City have done for 2 or 3 years under Pep brilliantly. With Fernandinho, now they're doing it with Rodri in there.
Barcelona used to do it.
Barcelona did it, have done it all their lives. So he knows that. Yeah, they'll have missed, and you know, you've got people who are out injured. I mean, I was surprised he didn't put Dyer in the middle of midfield today, Richard. I really was. He put Eriksen alongside Harry Winks. And he's got Eric Dyer. Now, I don't know where Dyer's struggling with his confidence or whatever, but he's a defensive midfield player. He would have sat alongside Harry Winks. He might have been a bit of protection for the back, and he might have just been able to move the ball forward. And he went in with Eriksen, who I thought was poor again, and never really influenced the game. I didn't think it was the right game for Christian Eriksen. Unless you're going to dominate possession, what's the point of having Christian Eriksen there? He needs the football to influence a football match. They had about 30% of the game today. So Eriksen's almost wasted for me.
Do you know when I was watching the game, and we have comments, and when Aldo's got one, and I've gone, get up, get a tackle. Made a tackle and had a chance at goal.
Son nearly scored.
Yeah, they had a chance at goal. Do you know after that, Tottenham had a bit of success because they were getting, not getting into Liverpool, but closing them down.
Yeah, they're not kicking. You're not seeing goal
making tackles.
Howard Kendall signed you two because you were horrible. You were going to be able to go to war in what was a nice team, really. But he knew the attitude that you two had would get those boys moving a bit. That's what Mourinho knows he needs. Sure,
yes.
You're not going to be able to get Harry Winks to do what Reedy used to do.
No, not in the
or Eriksen. It's not going to happen, is it?
No, it's not.
But you can get up on the ball. You can make it hard for people. I mean, nowadays, you can't tackle like we do. But the tackle on Ronaldo, sort of, they got on the front foot after that and got after Liverpool.
Do you know who they missed today? And I didn't think I'd hear myself say this. Do you know who they missed in a big game like today? Moussa Sissoko. They missed his power, his athleticism, his stature, because he's big in that midfield and he would have competed and he would have put people under pressure, and his powerful running and pressing was a big miss for Jose today. But to say that and you know, for one game to without Moussa Sissoko say that was a big loss for them, we shouldn't be saying that.
The bottom line is Liverpool were a better team.
Oh yes,
didn't concede, won another game, brilliant. I mean, I thought Tottenham, if there was a wing on the prayer, might have got one. I thought Liverpool were in control. I thought they were excellent.
You know, it's funny what you say about stats. Okay, if you just look, Richard, purely at the...
Sorry to interrupt. See if Mourinho mentions that later.
That would be interesting to see if he does.
That's in your mind when you
look at
stats, set up to defend now.
Right? Every stat's pretty level. We know that's a throw-in. He didn't see it, and it's, you know, it was a throw-in. Then defend the throw-in. See, I think here, one or two need to be stronger or be a little bit more committed and risk maybe getting a
And these
bang.
lads, you want to commit more fouls. It's just not within their DNA.
Wait, hold on. If you can stop it when that throw-in comes in, I would tell you about setting up off a throw-in where there's too big a gap. Look, the centre half now should be across. Who's in the
way Firmino just run behind? I think it's Harry Winks.
There's 1, 2, 3.
Look at that.
Is that Verdevalde?
That's Alderweireld, who went for the first header.
Go.
Dele Alli is now going out for the second. Go on, Dele, throw yourself at it.
Do you know what I call it from you smell danger there. You smell it and you deal with it. And it might have been Tottenham's throw-in, but once it's given you away, defend the throw-in. And he didn't.
That was too easy, by the way, Richard. That was far too easy. Mourinho would be furious at a concession of a goal from a throw-in. They would be absolutely furious. His team just didn't switch on. They weren't switched on. They just never got there, and you know, ends up being the goal that wins the game. But he had a couple of chances, big ones.
During the game, did you feel that Liverpool were going to score?
Oh yes.
Yeah, I did. And did you feel that Tottenham were going to get one?
Not for a long time.
No, I didn't.
Not until the last 15 minutes.
Honestly, yeah, I'd go with that.
Jurgen Klopp is waiting to talk to us. Here he is.
Jurgen, what did you make of that performance and that result? Well, first and foremost, the result is the most important thing. We won it. I think there was one team who deserved to win tonight. It was us, and that away against Tottenham is pretty special. That the game was not decided after 50, 60 minutes was of course our fault as well. We had big chances, didn't score with them. We had situations where there didn't even were chances at the end, but when we play Robbo on the touchline completely free and 4 players in a box free and we hit the first defender, that should be a big chance. Let's try it at least, and then we can still miss it. So, but of course then it was hectic, it was very intense for us as well. It's difficult to come here, and of course you can expect a little bit that they defend deep, but in the stadium it was 4-6 in the first half. I think the system, like, you didn't really know for counter-attacking, and they are really good in that. So it's not allowed to lose any balls, pretty much. Set pieces, they had a few, and of course a few shots in the second half where Ali was then there. But yeah, I'm fine. It's not that I think we cannot do better. It's actually the opposite. I spoke already to the boys, but if it would be easy to win here, much more teams would do it.
Why are you not elated then as such?
Because I see a football game, and there's one part of the football game is the result. Most important. I'm over the moon about that. It's really special. But then we have to talk about the performance, and there were a lot of good parts. We should have scored more goals. That's the truth. So I'm not like this that I go for the boys now and say you have to make this, but we have to be honest to ourselves, and that's what we are. So we could have scored more, and that when you can do that, you have to do it, especially against an opponent like Tottenham in a stadium like this, where the people probably were not overly happy with the game of majority of the time. But then I think after, I don't know exactly, but let me say the last 10, 12 minutes or so, then they came up, had these runs, the people pushed them, we were on the ground, stuff like this. How I said, the period of the season is still intense. And today, after all the games we had step by step, for all the teams, the problem is now that you have now a slightly longer break. That's good physically, but it costs you rhythm, and you have to learn again to use your body with all you have. And I saw that today, so it was not a physical problem. But second half, you saw a couple of players were slightly exhausted, and but that's okay. We fought through that, and so I'm fine.
What about the contribution once again of the goal scorer, the winner, Roberto Firmino? How much does he offer you in so many different ways?
Yeah, massively important, massively, but they all, I have no, Bobby Firmino, he plays all the time, so that's probably the best thing I can say about him, that we have other players there, and he plays, he's on the pitch, so yeah, incredibly important, of course, super goal, but in that moment when he scored a 1-0, it should have been already 2-0, I would say, because the very first chance we had was a double chance, I think it was Bobby with the first finish, then Oxley on the post, so that's the thing. But of course, this goal, exceptional. We played super football, especially in their box. We had a few really good moments, like 1-2s and stuff like this. I'm fine with that. But 95 minutes, 96, I don't know exactly with both extra times, you have to be ready, and you have to dig in, and we did that. I'm fine with that, but still think we can do better.
Just talk us through the goal again, really, because it is critical. How would you have set up here?
Well, look at the gap there. Now they've got the 3 defenders in the box. There's 1 player. So the centre off.
Who's the player?
Alderweireld. You're talking about him, number 4?
No, do you mean the Liverpool player?
No, the Tottenham player.
Because I didn't pronounce it before. I'm not after you. It was like that Corona.
He's just ruined it.
It was like that Corona. Well, you know what I'm saying. You've got to. The area. It's a big area. Fill it. It's smelling danger. Look at it. And Andy's right, you don't run off the back, it's too easy to run off the back.
Everyone's too square at the marking of it. Yeah. If you're marking behind, if Harry Winks gets behind Firmino, then there's not a problem for Firmino.
I'll be really honest, we didn't really want to look at it again. I just wanted to hear really call him...
I clocked that earlier.
Did you? See, I helped you out, pal. See, that's what teammates are for.
Because when you helped me out, he started laughing.
I know he did.
Right, so that was the goal that settled it. And here is José Mourinho.
Jose, how close were you to getting something out of that?
You know how close. And I think the guys in the studio, they also know how close. Very, very close. I think I have only reasons to be sad with the results, but I have only reasons to be happy and proud of what the boys did and tried to do with the situation we have at the time.
Was the plan executed perfectly as far as you're concerned in terms of tactics?
To be honest, no, because yesterday we spent half an hour defending throw-ins, and we lost the game on a throw-in. And in the top of that, with the throw-in, that should be throw-in in our favor. So it's a bit frustrating. I think the refs they did a very good job, but unfortunately the assistant on the opposite side of us didn't see that throw-in. But in the top of that, I have only reasons to be proud of the boys. We have what we have. We have to try to create a puzzle with what we have to try to compete against such a good team like they are, and I think we deserve more from this game.
Were you more competitive? Were you more in the game only when you'd gone behind?
No, I think we were more in the second half. We intensified the pressure a little bit more in the second half. We started pressing their build-up of three, because many times they build with three, with a midfielder that comes with the two centre-backs. We were more aggressive on that. And then when we felt that we could bring Lo Celso, and especially Lamela, that is not in conditions to play more time than he did today, when we felt was the right moment, when we felt that the game was under control, we had this risk, and not one or two, we had lots of good chances to score a goal. So proud of the boys, and was fantastic to compete against such a good team, and to feel that they were in trouble.
Quick word on your young debutant. What did you make of his performance, Jaffet?
I think he was very, very good. I think everybody at the club has to be proud with him. People that work with him since he was a young kid, coaches, people in the academy. I think it's a big day for them. I think that's Tottenham. That's what Tottenham does and has to do when we feel the player is the right player and the occasion is the right occasion. So I think it was a perfect occasion for him, where he could put on the pitch all these qualities, because he is fantastic. He's quick, he's aggressive, he has a great turn, he's comfortable with the ball, and on the right in Mane area, and on the left later in Salah area, I think the kid was really good.
Lastly, you know what it takes. Have you played the champions-elect today, do you think?
Oh, I told that when I was working with you. I told that when they beat Man City 3 or 4 months ago, that I told that, and they are so good and so strong in every area. In the top of that, they are lucky, because they were lucky. They could perfectly concede a goal. They could perfectly finish the game with 10, because the VAR at that time, they were having a tea and they didn't watch Robertson for a red card. Compare that with Son, when Son got a red card. But I think fantastic experience for the boys, and as I was saying to the boys inside, with what we have at the time, they gave absolutely everything. So sadness, yes, but I told them, don't hide at home, go out, go to a restaurant, have a beer.
Thanks, Jose.
Thank you.
Yeah, he knew. There's no debate, is there, about where the title's going?
I've got to say, I wouldn't hide at home. I'd be in a restaurant.
The man, of course, who replaced him at Manchester United, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, whose team beat Norwich today by 4-0, and afterwards he spoke with beIN Sports' Matt Critchley.
Ole, congratulations. Was everything positive today?
Yeah. That's one question.
2 questions, 1-word answers.
No, yeah, very pleased with the attitude, performance. You know, at home against the bottom team, everyone expects us to win easily, but Norwich are a good team if you give them time to play, and we never gave them time. I thought the work rate of my players were fantastic tonight.
Did you need a response after particularly what happened in the first half here in midweek?
Yeah, you need a response. You need to, every time you play for Man United, if you don't win, it's a crisis anyway. So, of course, it was nice for the boys to get that feeling, and we focused just on ourselves today. Nothing about the noise outside or whatever everyone says. You know, we've we're here now. We're in all competitions. We're 5th. We're not too far behind the 4th place. We need to keep things in perspective. You know where we've come from, and we've had to start a big rebuilding job.
What is the perspective of where you are? I spoke about it before the game. Is it the team that won here against Newcastle and Burnley, or struggled at Wolves and lost against Manchester City? Sometimes it's difficult to know who Manchester United are.
That happens when you've got a young team. You know, everyone raves about the FA Cup team that Liverpool beat Everton with. Our league team is a year younger in average. So it's got to be ups and downs, and gradually we'll get these experiences from the weekend before against City. They'll help these boys. They can't improve if they don't get these experiences.
Are you hopeful of adding, I know you've been asked this question a lot, but there's been a lot of speculation about a certain Bruno Fernandes over the last 24 hours. Are you hopeful of adding him or any more imminently?
I can't talk about individuals that play for other clubs, but I've got to say that I do have the backing, and we do have the backing to do something if the right thing comes up in this transfer window. The owners and Ed, they know what we're building towards, and they are very supportive.
Thanks, Albert.
Thanks.
Thank you.
It's a difficult one to disprove, but his team, Andy, on average, a year younger than the babies that beat Everton in the FA Cup.
Well, it depends.
Is that true?
Well, not today. It wasn't. No, the team today was averages was older than the team that played. But what you have to put it in context. I think it's all right bringing out age. We've talked about that, but we have to look at his experience. So this Liverpool team. Okay, some of it they played. Minamino hasn't played a game in the Premier League. Don't know how good he's going to be. Elliott, 16, hasn't got any Premier League experience. Jones, no Premier League experience really. Chiravella, no Premier League experience really. Phillips, no Premier League experience really. Williams, no Premier League experience really. So when you talk about experience, and then you put the same age, say, a Marcus Rashford, who's played his what?
200 Premier League games.
Come on, you cannot trot out age when you talk about a sportsman really. He's had 200 Premier League games. He's a full-fledged international for England. You know, when you talk about that, you know, the players he's got that are young, Daniel James, for instance, who he's had to leave out because I think the boy's shattered.
He needed it.
He needs a rest, right?
Correct.
But you're not telling me Martial is not experienced. Scott McTominay is a fully-fledged Scottish international. And he's one of the young players he's talking about. Is Harry Maguire young at 26? No. Lindelof at 25, Swedish international. Yeah. Wan-Bissaka, the one he would say is a young one, he's got over 50, 60, 70 Premier League appearances now. So to just compare them age-wise and say, well, it's as young as... No, we're not talking about age, we're talking about experience here. We're talking about how many games did that Liverpool side play in the Premier League? Hardly any. Hardly any. And that's why it was so young. It was inexperienced, Richard. It hasn't played there, hasn't been there.
It was virtually the side that Aston Villa beat 5.
It was, apart from 3 players, it was side Aston Villa beat 5. And that's why we are so disappointed with what went on that day, it's particularly in the second half. But listen, Ollie is promoting his youth. He's promoting this, not this theory.
Smoke screen.
Well, not a smoke screen. He has this vision, I guess, of what he wants to do with United. And I've said all along that he'll get that time, in my opinion. I think the powers that be have decided he's going to stay in unless he loses the supporters.
Is he still in 3 competitions? It's 3-1 down in the League Cup semi-final. He's got a replay to come against Wolves that they could very easily have lost. They didn't have a shot on target in the first leg. They're certainly not in the title race, are they? Let's be realistic.
They're stretching for the top 4. They're looking for the top 4.
It's going to be difficult, isn't it? And like you say, Manchester City, you think could go through. I think it's transition. It's how long they take, and I think that's a good point.
How long he's given?
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The fans will stay with him, but I think crucially the top 4 and winning something will come into it as well. I honestly believe that.
Joe,
as the pressure comes on towards the end of the season.
I know we've got to go. Just wait. It's fine. 3-0, 4-0. I said today, good team will be on beat. Let them easy. If you wanted a boost, the best team you could play was Norwich at home. Worst team in the league. We've won 3 games all season. I felt they'd win.
And the best player was out.
Let's go 8 games. Let's see 8 days from now, when Liverpool take them on Anfield. Then let's have a look at United then, and see where they've come. Because you can only judge yourself against the best. You can't judge yourself against the worst and say, we're here. You judge yourself against the best, and then you say, This is either where we are, or this is how far we've got to go. Let's see what 8 days brings.
There are 2 more games to come tomorrow, and they are critical at the bottom.